Let's talk about something that's not talked about enough. How your relationship with your food and your body impacts your sex life. So you don't have to have a full-blown eating disorder and you don't even have to be actively dieting. But if you are thinking about your body and you're thinking about your food way too much, and you know what I'm talking about, this is affecting your sex life. This is affecting your sensuality and your connection, not only to those that you want to be intimate with, but with yourself. My name is Marla Mervis-Hartmann. I'm creator of Love Your Body, Love Yourself. I'm the author of the book, Befriend Yourself. And let's get into this subject because it is really important. So how does food and your body struggles show up sexually? So let's talk about this. This can look like you avoiding intimacy because you don't want to be seen naked, right? This could be you keeping the lights out because you don't want to be seen. This could be you overeating so that you can't find your pleasure. Lots of times people will stuff themselves and they'll use food as a way to access their pleasure. They want to access that pleasure body, but sexuality can feel way too much. So they'll use food or they'll get themselves to a place where they're so uncomfortable with their food that they have no desire anyways. You could also be shutting down even a compliment from someone else, or shutting down someone initiating intimacy with you, your partner, or someone else that just wants to lean in and flirt can feel really uncomfortable because you are so uncomfortable with your own body because maybe you're binging, maybe you're overeating, maybe you're restricting and you're feeling so overstressed out. So we can use sex as a way to even feel validated because deep down you don't feel lovable unless someone wants your body, right? So that's the other side of it, is almost the over sexualization of ourselves, that we are only a body. So can you relate to any of this? Because this isn't just about confidence. It's about trust. It's about trusting yourself. It's about presence. And it's about safety, safe enough in your body for you to experience pleasure, for you to experience the breath, for you to enjoy your sensuality, the connection with life and vulnerability. Why this happens. So when you're at war with your body and food, your nervous system doesn't feel safe. When we are stressed out, there's no access to pleasure. It shuts down. That's like the last thing that our body is even thinking about. It's not thinking about sexuality, sensuality, feeling good. It feels overwhelmed, uncomfortable. And it's like the experience of fight, flight, or freeze. So when you're in constant overwhelm, when you are in constant stress, and this can look like having a to-do list that is way more than you can actually handle. And some of us will choose that, myself included, I have, because I didn't want to slow down to feel myself. And because there was this fear that if I felt myself, I was going to be way too much. But this is the thing. It can be even way too much with pleasure. And sometimes pleasure can be just as scary as the sadness or the shutdownness of our lives. Because when we don't have a relationship with it, any sort of information can feel like it's too much. So if you're stuck in a cycle of shame or restriction or overeating, guilt, or obsession, your body is in that state of stress. And in that state of stress, as I was saying, pleasure is inaccessible. So what happens is we might disassociate. We might get stuck in our head. Maybe if we're having sex, we're getting stuck in our head. Maybe you feel numb, being self-conscious. Oh my gosh, being self-conscious. You may even not know what turns you on because you've been suppressing these needs for a long time, or you're just trying to be good. So this really isn't your fault. This is part of the fallout of diet culture, of body shame, of being taught that our lives are about our appearance. I can remember a time in my recovery where I was just my body and I was the reflection of what I got. You know, if someone responded to me about what my body looked like, then I had a hit of self-worth. And it was about the body and my looks turning the man on outside of me. It wasn't about me actually enjoying my own body. And I can remember having the most pleasurable orgasm. I can still remember it. It was the most amazing experience. And from that moment, it was like everything in my body went, oh, my body, my pleasure is about me enjoying me. And from this place of having this pleasure in my body, I realized it doesn't even matter what weight I am. It doesn't even matter what I ate because I felt on fire. I felt alive. I felt, whoa, I felt so full of energy. And that is your birthright. That is my birthright to feel so good that it doesn't matter what we look like. We learn through these experiences of opening ourselves up to more and more pleasure, how to be with this energy, how to integrate this. Let's talk about the why some of the else this happens on a deep level, because a lot of people who struggle with body image and with food do have some sexual trauma or sexual violation in their past or in their present or in their lineage. I feel like as a woman, we have that imprint of violation. We have that imprint that we're literally growing up and into a world of our body matters. So there is already this experience through diet culture and through how we're raised that what we look like is for the eye of someone else. So from that place, if we've ever had any sexual violation or sexual trauma, it can feel really uncomfortable to access pleasure. It can feel very uncomfortable to lose the weight. Because if we lose the weight, then we will feel that pleasure and then we will attract unwanted sexuality and energy coming towards us. And if this is you, I want to say that I hear you and I feel you. And this is not something that you have to feel like you have to dive right into. The work that I do with people is going into these places and lovingly holding them. Now, a lot of people come to me and they've already worked out all that sexual trauma. They've done their work. I'm thinking of a couple of clients who have shared, oh my gosh, I've done so much work on this sexual trauma. And I totally get it. We don't need to go into the full story of it. And yet it is connected to your relationship with your body and your food. So let's connect a dot here. Let's figure out how this connects and let's bring healing from this level. And from the level of looking at how food is used, how our body is used, how we block ourselves from pleasure, how we're using food as pleasure instead of allowing ourselves to feel our own sexuality and sensuality. When we connect these dots, so much more healing happens. But it has to be very slow, very gentle, very held in a loving container. So for some of you who are watching this, there can be that activation that is happening in your body. And I invite you to take a breath right now and to be with yourself or maybe shake it out a little bit, maybe feeling a little pull, a little tug of that. I don't know what she say. I don't know if this even relates to me, but I'm feeling something in me. I just want to take a moment and say, I feel you. I hear you. I care for you. I understand. And so what healing can look like is acknowledging this even in this moment and saying that that you want to reclaim your sensuality, reclaim your sexuality. Now, this is the thing. It's starting in your own body, right? It's not about, let's slow this whole thing down. It's not about saying, okay, I'm going to reclaim my sexuality and now I need to like turn the lights on and let myself be seen. No, it's a very gentle process here. And yet what I find is that when we begin to step into stopping the obsession with food, there's automatically space that frees up for pleasure. And that can be uncomfortable. And then we start to get used to it. And we're like, oh, I feel safe. Oh, this is okay. Oh, wow, this feels really good. So it's a process. And it's also a process of we are actually in control now. We are safe. We create that safety within our own body. And what that can look like is slowing down on your drive and beginning to look around and noticing the beauty that's around you. That is about being with someone that you love, you feel safe with, a friend. And when you're with them, you actually see them. You actually slow down to look at the beauty in their eyes. You soften your heart. You soften your pelvis. You feel your toes. You're in the shower and instead of just getting in there and like hurrying up and doing it, no, you like take the moment and you get that shampoo into your hair and oh, that feels good. I know that may sound really, Marla, like really that helps. Yeah, actually it does. It actually does. These moments where we're in control and we find pleasure outside of our food, when we find pleasure in our body in a way that's not just around taste. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about slowing down to eat your food. Talk about finding pleasure, really slowing down, really enjoying it. I have a client that I'm thinking of. What I find is it's kind of abnormal because a lot of people who say they love food and they have a food obsession, they're actually not eating, they're not actually enjoying it. And I have a client who's like, oh, it was so good. Oh my gosh, I love eating this, decadent thing. And she really enjoys her food. And there's something beautiful about that. And I'm wondering, do you actually, if you are obsessed with food and you are emotionally eating, are you actually enjoying your food? Sometimes we don't because we use it as punishment because we eat too much and then we shame ourselves for doing so. Or we shame ourselves because diet culture just said, you know what, you shouldn't have eaten that. Every time you take back your own power, your own authority, and you say, you know what, that was good. I'm going to allow myself to have that. These are moments where you are reclaiming your birthright of pleasure. Every time you do this, you are taking this constriction. That's what happens in the body. We constrict, we control, we numb. But every time we take a breath and we allow ourselves pleasure, we're allowing ourselves sensuality. We're allowing ourselves to have sexuality. We reclaim this, we call it back, we cut off cords to our trauma, we strengthen this moment right here and now. So it's not necessarily about going back into the past, it's reclaiming pleasure that's available right now and finding safety in this moment. So as you can see, freedom with food isn't just about what you eat or how you feel in your body, it's about allowing it to show up in all parts of your life, in your bedroom, with self-pleasuring with yourself, with life, with others, with intimacy, with your partner, your friends, your family. All of this is opening yourself up to receive pleasure and to allow yourself to be the sexual, sensual human being that you're meant to be, that you're meant to experience life through. So I'm going to invite you to go deeper with me. I'm going to put some links below. You can get my free course, Breaking the Cycle of Emotional Eating. That's below. You can join my Body Compassion Collective course. You also can apply for a Peace with Food and Body Confidence session. That is on an application basis and it's free for those who want to go deeper. And then of course I'll have my book, Befriend Yourself, below where we dive into more things about pleasure and more about sexuality. Sending you so much love, sending you a sensual sexual day.